This is a disclaimer, people. You are very welcome.
If you grew up around the late 90s and early 2000s, then y'all may have watched Cartoon Network during the famous cartoons era. You know, Dexter's Laboratory, Powerpuff Girls, Ed, Nettie, and Grim and Evil. I think you know where I'm going with this. For the unfamiliar, Grim and Evil was a show that eventually split up into two shows, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and Evil Concarnate. To make a long story short, after Grim Adventures ended its last episode in crossover, Maxwell Adams created the third and final TV movie that doubled as a pilot to a potential spin-off. Unfortunately, this pilot failed not only because of the timing, but because Maxwell Adams' contract with Cartoon Network had expired. So the spin-off never came to be. What is this pilot? Well, I'll give you a hint. It's in the title of this video, and it's what I'm about to show you right now.
When you've been around as long as I have, man, you have some crazy stories. Stories about annoying little monsters. Stories about monsters who think they're people. Stories about people who fight monsters. And stories about people who fight people. But the strangest story of all is about a youth whose baby mama was a mummy and whose granddaddy was Dracula himself. A kid who was half mummy, half vampire, half nerd. This is his story, man, and the story of that fateful Halloween night. This is the story of Underfist.
When monsters come to wreck your town, and you need heroes to rescue you.
Underfist Halloween Bash is the final Billy and Mandy movie that aired on Cartoon Network on October 12, 2008, so it's 10 years old now. Underfist was supposed to become its own show to keep the franchise going a bit longer. However, Maxwell Adams' contract with Cartoon Network had expired a month before the special aired. Plus, again, the timing was poor. Cartoon Network was changing for the worse in some fans' eyes, and some of the classic shows from 1999 to 2004 were ending. Kids Next Door, Billy and Mandy, Fosters, and Ed, Nettie. So yeah, poor timing. I'm not here to judge the network from like a business perspective, as there was competition around them. And since I'm late on getting this review out for Halloween, I might as well get on with it. This is Underfist Halloween Bash. Enjoy! The movie begins with Billy, Mandy, and Erwin trick-or-treating when they stop at Erwin's grandfather's house. Yeah, Dracula is Erwin's granddad, and Erwin's mom is a mummy. Go figure. After getting pennies in their buckets, Billy and Mandy say screw it and go home. Erwin tries to convince them to stay, but that goes as well as you think.
So yeah, I'm going home and I'll see you later.
Erwin tries to find something else to do when he goes to Hostel Gala's trailer and is off put by his costume, before realizing it's Halloween and he goes about his business. Erwin later runs into Jeff the Spider, who's Billy's spider son, and Fred Fredberg are having fun. Yeah, they changed Jeff's personality around to give him more chemistry with Fred. That barely makes any sense, especially thinking back to his previous appearance in Billy and Mandy. It's best to shrug it off. Erwin stops at General Scar's home and ends up getting into his prize-winning flowers. Then Mindy randomly pops out of nowhere, and if you've seen my Big Picture Show review, then I consider Mindy the second biggest douchebag in all of Cartoon Network. Here's why. The way her voice actress portrays her is really annoying. And before you say it, that same voice actress voices number 362 in Codename Kids Next Door. Only difference is that one's tolerable, one is not. After a pretty humorous fake-out ending, Mindy needs Erwin's help going to a spooky house for some candy. However, Erwin nearly backs out, and when he touches the doorbell, an underworld portal opens and out comes a marshmallow bunny named Bun Bun and his army of candy monsters as they attack Ensville. The reason for this invasion is that kids have always protected the world through trick-or-treating and are planning to reverse the world by having candy hunt the people, which is a recipe for sheer insanity. Hoss then comes out of his trailer ready to bust up some candy, and we find out that Hoss still lives with his mom and that he's 48. Maybe he was lying about his age in the original show.
Mommy? You're not pretending I'm dead again because you're 48 and still live with your mommy, are you?
No, Mommy.
Hoss begins beating all the candy monsters before they start blasting soda on him and Scar's flowers, which brings Scar into the fight. Erwin sees that Bun Bun is taking Mindy into the underworld and can't follow since he can't go into the underworld alone. Meanwhile, Jeff and Fred spectate the fight, and Fred spells his name real good. Then the rest of the monsters are taken care of, and property damage was kept to a minimum.
Wow, I'd hate to see the maximum property damage.
Well, since there are no loose ends to tie up, I'm going home to finish my novel.
You're writing a novel?
No, I'm eating one. War and Peace. Tough novel.
Erwin shows up trying to ask for help, and Jeff translates his dilemma. More portals open up as Hoss breaks out his car, or more like a tank with a fist on the front. Jeff is the only one who can drive stick shift because he had experience, in a way. Erwin has a nightmare involving a feral version of him, but it was really Jeff trying to wake him up. Haas comes in explaining that the world has been thrown into chaos, a new president has been elected to restore order, and said president was kidnapped and taken to the underworld. So Haas and Erwin have to go into the underworld since Erwin is the only person Haas can trust that's not a monster or what a weirdo. Unfortunately, Erwin's vampire mummy powers begin to take shape as he can't see his reflection. Haas pushes Erwin into the portal and into the underworld as Erwin notices that the portal is coming from a glowing green gem that's similar to the doorbell from earlier. Because it is. Unfortunately, a witch shows up and knocks Haas out with sleeping gas. The witch turns out to be Mindy, and Bun Bun pops up to smash the gem, closing the portal and stranding Haas and Erwin in the underworld. Scar is really pissed at the ordeal and flat out tells friend Jeff to grow up. Jeff takes it literally with positivity and gives him the motive to get into the underworld. Meanwhile, Haas and Erwin are being taken hostage by Bun Bun, Mindy, and the Candy Monsters, and Haas is saying Erwin's name wrong, which has become a running gag. Erwin tries to tell Haas that he was a sidekick in an episode of Billy and Mandy, and wonders why Minnie is helping the antagonist. Minnie blames Erwin for turning her into a witch because she was bitten by mummy cooties that were supposedly on Erwin's pencil that she was using, and that Bun Bun told her about Erwin's mixed heritage, and Haas is not happy. Mindy knocks Haas out again and tells Bun Bun to lock Haas and Erwin in the tower. Unfortunately, the president is in the tower, they need Erwin, and Bun Bun is gonna get rid of Haas.
Once and for all. Permanently.
Hey, doesn't once and for all sort of imply permanently?
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I being graded?
No.
Oh, help! Somebody help me! The grammar police are out to get me! Oh, help me, Mr. Irwin! I don't want to get a bad grade!
What's a marshmallow bunny doing in a Halloween special anyway?
Meanwhile, Jeff is panicking because he doesn't know what the frick he's doing. Fred comes in showing Jeff and Scar something he made, a made-up superhero team called Underfist. This is a really hilarious scene, mainly because of the performance of C.H. Greenblatt. Jeff decides that Underfist is the answer to their problem as they make their way to the underworld. Meanwhile, Erwin is trying to figure out why he can't see his reflection anymore. Bun Bun explains that his powers are manifesting, and Minnie and Bun Bun are trying to get him to turn over to the villain side, but Erwin refuses. Also, Haas is going to be boiled in hot cocoa like a Thanksgiving turkey! Who even boils turkey in cocoa?
Yes, so you were.
Then there's a musical number as Minnie turns the Candy Monsters into trick-or-treater eaters. Erwin tries once again to stop Bun Bun, but he gets pushed over the edge and his powers take shape.
I love you.
Erwin saves Haas, but Haas doesn't want anything to do with Erwin since he was lied to. Erwin is about to unleash all hell when he gets run over. Jeff tries to pull everyone in the tank as Erwin goes to save the president, who turns out to be Mandy. Well, she wanted power and she got it. As the team escapes, Haas has his childhood trauma come back to him as Bun Bun had something to do with his hatred for monsters. Everyone manages to escape the underworld as Jeff made everyone Underfist team uniforms. Erwin is too busy contemplating about being a monster. Haas shows off the team and Jeff asks Erwin what happened. Erwin doesn't say anything about it and Jeff tosses it aside. Manny explains to the group about their current situation and the reason why kids trick-or-treat on Halloween.
The history of trick-or-treating can only be found in dark, forbidden tomes of ancient knowledge, like the Confectionomicon. A brief history of trick-or-treating. Or Wee Wee Kitty's first Halloween.
Jeez!
Mandy orders Underfist to trick-or-treat and sends them to see Grim and Billy, who are now mad scientists, to hit them up with some weapons and costumes. Also, Billy's birthday chicken! I'm kidding, it's pillowcases. Underfist is ready to go when we see Scar trying to get out of being on the team, even if it means treachery. If you've seen Evil Concarnate, then you can see where this is going. Underfist then starts to trick-or-treat at Dracula's house. Way to full circle that. Dracula gives Erwin a pep talk about accepting who he is, which is a nice moment if you ask me. The trick-or-treating ends up going south as it causes Underfist to disband, in a way. Meanwhile, Mindy's giving out caramel apples. She gives out 2 to Grim before being run off. Meanwhile, Fred is drowning his sorrows from the previous events in ice cream as Erwin tries to comfort him because Fred wanted to play. Fred gets a hold of a caramel apple but ends up breaking his teeth, and the apple contains a vortex gem. Erwin and Fred tell Jeff saying that Mindy is hiding the gems in the apples, and they decide to go find Haas, who gets Mindy's last caramel apple. Also turns out Mindy was wearing a magic costume the whole time. Let that sink in. So gems begin to explode and open portals as the Underfist tank is destroyed and Candy Monsters attack. Erwin goes to help Haas, who's fighting off monsters, then they begin to fight. Jeff and Fred try to intervene, but Mindy sends her monsters at them. Jeff and Fred realize that growing up isn't all it's cracked up to be, which is relatable to some people. They decide not to grow up and break into a musical number which is better than the last one. Mandy casts a spell that combines all the monsters into a big one as Jeff and Fred get away. Meanwhile, Hoss and Erwin decide to quit fighting and stop the huge monster with very little success until Hoss unleashes Billy, who eats the monster in one fell swoop. Then Hoss reveals that he was haunted by a monster when he was a kid and wet the bed for the next 30 years. Then Hoss realizes that not all monsters are evil. Owen realizes that he doesn't have to act like a monster despite being one. Jeff realizes that he can still act like a kid despite an older age. And Fred, well, 11. Oh yeah, and Mindy gives up world domination and goes back to what she was doing in the original show, and that's being a douchebag. Then Bun Bun shows up with Scar, revealing that he was using Mindy to get to Erwin by putting a witchworm in her hair, and there's no way to reverse it. Bun Bun also used Erwin's powers to open up portals by transferring the energy to other gems. He was the monster from Hoss's childhood. He caused Billy's arachnophobia and sawed off Fred's tusk. And when it seems like Underfist is dead, Scar turns on Bun Bun and melts him in hot cocoa. It turns out he was a double agent after all. Go figure. And so the movie ends with Underfist being rewarded and going to stop squid monsters that climbed out of a hole that led to the underworld. Then we get some awesome end credits and some footage of some cancelled sequels had Underfist gotten the chance. The first two specials in the credits were planned, the others were jokes. Alas, poor Underfist. Oh well.
All that work and nothing to show for it.
That was Underfist Halloween Bash, and it is awesome. It's become one of my favorite Cartoon Network movies next to Ed, Edd n Eddy's Big Picture Show. It's too bad that the show never got picked up, because it could have saved CN for a little while, as they were doing their CN Real block at the time. While on top of being an action show, there are some similarities to Billy and Mandy, like most of the humor and jokes. There are a lot of fourth wall breaks in this movie, and lead to some enjoyable laughs. The animation is similar, not similar to the original show, because one thing, E-Mation in Korea did the animation for Billy and Mandy halfway through its run. Characters were either slightly redesigned or completely redesigned, most notable being Fred Fredberger. Hoss and Scar looked as if they aged about 5 or 10 years, mainly Hoss. Erwin looks pretty much the same. Speaking of which, I'm glad that he got some character development in this special, because he goes through a relatable struggle involving his mummy vampire genetics. Hoss is on the same level because he overcomes his hatred for monsters, which, in all fairness, can be troublesome for those wanting to overcome a phobia from way back when. I don't know about Scar though, since I haven't watched enough of Evil Con Carne. I believe about 2 episodes. Jeff did go through some relatable stuff with growing up, but since Billy and Mandy wasn't about much character development like that to my knowledge, it ended up coming off as a bad moral the more I think about it. But this is mainly a comedy, and plus, they changed around Jeff's personality because he never acted like this in the original show. Don't count Ralph and the Spider Queen though, that was for a different reason. While the animation was to be more cleaner and make itself different from Billy and Mandy, it's still very fluid and has some very good scenes. Although the coloring seems dark and hard to see at times. Either it takes place at night, or the TV rip I have is part of the reason. Speaking of which, the movie was produced in widescreen and aired on the premiere in widescreen only. The rip I have has the black bars cut off, so any other on-screen graphics is cut off, which really sucks. Plus, Cartoon Network and Boomerang have not re-aired it in its original aspect ratio and most likely will never happen again, as some line deliveries in certain scenes come off as awkward and cringy, mainly from Erwin's performance, Mindy's song, Mindy in general, or Jeff in his attempts at growing up. The other flaw is that I wish Underfist was picked up as a series or had another special, but it's been 10 years and Billy and Mandy is irrelevant on Cartoon Network today. However, it's still an awesome TV movie as it's full of action and hilarious moments, has good callbacks to the original show along with several cameos, got some good background music, and is overall great to watch either on Halloween or whenever you're in the mood for nostalgia or Billy and Mandy. While it's got duds, I can recommend this to anyone fans of Maxwell Adams' work, fans of Billy and Mandy, or fans of superhero shows or Halloween specials. Speaking of Halloween, sorry this review came past Halloween. But that'll do it for this Cartoon Network movie review. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you're new, check out my previous walkthrough, review, and Teenage Mutant cartoon, along with my Discord and Wattpad. This is Rugrats921 and I will see you all next time. Peace out, happy belated Halloween, and remember...
I know where babies come from! Ooh, swirly thingy.
What's an underfist?
Underfist?
Here we go. Underfist is the answer to everything.
Underfist! Yo!
All that work and nothing to show for it. your future?